Jamestown, the historic settlement in Virginia, played a significant role in the history of slavery in the United States. During the early years of Jamestown's establishment in the 17th century, enslaved Africans were brought to the colony to work on plantations and perform various labor-intensive tasks. These enslaved people endured harsh conditions, forced labor, and the denial of basic human rights. The presence of enslaved people in Jamestown was a reflection of the institution of slavery that was deeply ingrained in American society at the time. Their labor contributed to the economic growth of the colony and laid the foundation for the development of the plantation system in the southern colonies. It is important to acknowledge and remember the experiences of Jamestown's enslaved people as part of understanding the history of slavery and its lasting impact on American society. In August 2019, which was 400 years after the arrival of the first enslaved Africans, the NAACP leadership, members, and the African American community had the opportunity to travel from Jamestown, Virginia, to the Jamestown area of Accra, Ghana, a former port and slave market, as part of a commemoration trip. This trip was organized by Diallo Sumbry, Ghana's first Black American tourism ambassador, in collaboration with the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Jamestown to Jamestown is an initiative slated for the Year of Return, a year-long major landmark spiritual and birthright journey inviting the global African family, home and abroad, to strengthen and re-energize the ongoing fight for complete liberation and justice around the world by bridging the Black diaspora's present with our African past. A pilgrimage to the Ass and Manso Slave River site is a component of Jamestown to Jamestown spiritual rituals. Before slaves were being transported to the slave castles along the coast, slaves from the northern region of Ghana and occasionally neighboring nations took their last bath at the Ass and Manso Slave River site.
Thank God we made it to Africa ground. God's gonna trouble the water. My soul feels happy when I found. God's gonna trouble the water. Way in the water, way in the water, children, way in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
From your truth, your son, our top man, Marcus Garvey, W. Du Bois. Omumia Mudamuku Akuma Eboy and Yase, Mudamasana, and then Womba, and I'm sleeping to the Toku also. And I am a boat the very short one and Yamodia. The summer Semishia, the summer Semyansa, the summer Semtini, the summer Semah. Yeah. Some of what from a and then Womba Abitu. And the maybe actually a student, yes, work right.
Yeah.
The main commodity was our ancestors. Here is where our identity was robbed. Here is a manufacturing ground for the Negro that hitherto did not exist. Remember that when our ancestors were brought here and having been captured in all the places of the interior where we were captured from, there were no African Americans captured. There were no Jamaicans captured. There were no Brazilians captured. They had not been created yet. They had not been constructed yet. Our names were robbed from us. Our identities were robbed from us. Our language was robbed from us. The very memory of ourselves were robbed from us. That was the importance of us going down into dungeons, into darkness. So the darkness would be prevailing over our mind, that our memory of ourselves would be lost, that the history of ourselves would be lost.
I don't think people understand how it feels for a lot of African Americans to come home to a place you've never been. I mean, how you never been home before? I think it's emotional for everybody. Every African American should experience it for their own soul. It's for your soul. You know, your soul is here. Mm-hmm. And so it's nothing but greatness being here. I mean, you know, this is home. It's when we get here, the first time I came here, I couldn't stop crying because I had come to a place called home, which I had never been. Mm-hmm. And I felt robbed. And so I'm good now. Now, you know, we're doing some business over here. Mm-hmm. We're gonna create some opportunity over here. We're gonna change the thought process, you know, and this is gonna help shape, and especially bridge the gap between African Americans and Africans, because that's what you have to do. You know?
A lot of the issues that we're dealing with as African Americans are, you know, embedded in this sort of generational disconnect, the trauma, the terror, being stripped of your rights, your identity, your culture. And to be the first in your family to rediscover that and reconnect with that ancestry and be empowered by it gives you a whole new perspective on yourself and your life.
Stevie Wonder said in the press recently that he wanted to move to Ghana. Now those of us in the room that know Stevie personally, he says this thing many times through the years that we've known him. But this last time he said it, what he said, I'm moving to Ghana so that I can be valued and respected more. And you know, you gotta think, as a black American, who amongst us is more valued or respected than Stevie Wonder? And the idea that he would feel this way at this stage in his life and in his career. He goes on to say, I would do this for my grandchildren so that they don't have to worry about that, which is a very ominous thing to say. This is gonna last for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. And to see him decide to make that move, I wanted to go. I'll follow him over there.
Everything has a beginning and everything has an end. You know, I'm standing at the beginning.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content of this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a comment, like and share this video. See you in the next one.